Hi! So last time is we talk about what we call molecular and empirical formula. So when we talk about molecular formula, so it is a type of formula on which you express the actual number of atoms. And when you talk about empirical formula, you express the smallest number of atoms present on that compound. So for the part 2 of our topic about stoichiometry is we will talk about chemical reactions. So what comes into your mind when we talk about chemical reaction? Kindly type your answer on the chat box. When we talk about chemical reactions, it is where the new conversion to one or more new substances takes place. And also, when we talk about the chemical reactions, it always follow the law of conservation of mass. So, kapag sinabi nating law of conservation of mass, walang nababawas, walang nadadagdag. Therefore, no atoms are created or no atoms is destroyed. They are just rearranged. Therefore, kung ano po yung mass nung bago mag-start ng chemical reaction, ganun din ang mass after mangyari ang isang chemical reaction. That is the law of conservation of mass. Ano ba yung bumubuo sa tinatawag nating chemical reaction? So, a chemical reaction would not be possible if not because of these two. We have here the what we call reactant and also the product. So, for example, on this statement or on this given here, we have sodium bicarbonate reacts with acetic acid and yields or form carbon dioxide, water, and sodium acetate. So, take note of this one. So, the reactants should always be positioned or should always be written on the left side, while when we talk about the product, it should always be written on the right side. And also, the equation must be balanced so that the same number and type of atoms appear on the left and right side of the equation. So, this follows the law of conservation of mass. For example, consider the reaction of hydrogen gas with chlorine gas to yield hydrogen chloride. Now, we can write this statement into a chemical equation. So we have here H2, which represents the hydrogen gas. We also have Cl2, which represents the chlorine gas. And we also have here an arrow. So what is this arrow? So this arrow indicates the formation or yield. So it will yield hydrogen chloride. Therefore, if we were going to write the number of atoms, so you can create a table. So, reactants, so we have hydrogen, 2 hydrogens, we have 2 chlorines, and on the product, we have 2 hydrogens and also 2 chlorines. Therefore, the mass on the reactant is just the same with the mass on the product. Or in other terms, the number of atoms on the reactants are just the same with the number of atoms on the product side. What if the atoms on the reactant is not the same with the atoms or the number of atoms on the product side? So, dito po papasok ngayon na tinatawag nating balancing chemical equation. Here are some of the steps on how do we balance chemical equation. So, for the first one is we need to identify the reactants and products and write their respective chemical formulas. Second one is put the reactants on the left side and products on the right side of the equation. Third one, so write down your given equation. So for example, if your given statement here is ethane reacts with oxygen gas to produce carbon dioxide and water. So we will write this equation. So we have C2H6 plus O2 will form CO2 plus H2O. So this one or this chemical equation represents the statement. The next thing that we need to do is we need to write down the number of atoms per each element that you have on each side of the equation. So for example, on the reactant, so meron tayong 6 na hydrogen doon, meron tayong 2 carbon, meron tayong 2 oxygen. While dun sa side naman ng product, meron tayong 2 hydrogen, meron tayong 1 carbon, at saka meron tayong 3 oxygen. So for our next step, so take note of this one. So always leave hydrogen and oxygen for last. Next one, select the element that appears in only a single molecule of reactants and in only a single molecule of products. Just for example, we have here carbon. So add coefficients to the atom on the left of the equation to balance it with the atoms on the right side of the equation. Now, kung titignan nyo po mabuti yung, yung una dyan, so makita nyo po yung carbon, meron tayong dalawa dun sa reactant, then meron tayong isang carbon dito sa side ng product. Now, ilan ba yung kailangan ngayon nung carbon dito sa product para maging kamukha siya nung nasa reactant? Okay, tama. So, 2 po ang kailangan natin. So, lagyan nyo po siya ng coefficient na 2. Therefore, kapag nilagyan nyo po ng coefficient na 2 yan, yung carbon nyo magiging 2 na. Next, tignan nyo naman po ngayon yung hydrogen. Dun sa reactant, meron kang 6 na hydrogen. Dito naman po sa part ng product, meron tayong 2 hydrogen. Now, ano ba yung kailangan maging coefficient ngayon ng water para maging 6 din ang kanyang number of atoms? Okay, tama. So, we have 3. So, lagyan nyo po ng coefficient na 3. So, magiging 3H2O po yan. Therefore, 3 times 2, magiging 6 na po ngayon ang water. Now, ito na po ang problem ngayon. Mag-iiba po ngayon ang oxygen. So, kung titignan nyo po, dito sa side na to, so 2 times 2, so magiging 4. Then, dun sa part naman po ng water, we have 3 times 1 is 3. So, 4 plus 3 is equals to 7. 7 po ngayon ang inyong number of oxygen. On which, kung titignan nyo po yung sa side naman ng reactant, meron lang tayong 2 oxygen. So, ano ba ngayon ang kailangan mong i-multiply sa 2 para makuha mo yung 7? Okay, very good. So, it would be 3.5. Or if we will use fraction, it would be 7 over 2. But, hindi po tayo pwede maglagay ng decimal or fraction as a coefficient. Ano ba ang gagawin natin nito? Next step na po tayo. So, para ma-eliminate po natin yung fraction kanina, so let us multiply the equation by 2 para maging whole number yan. So, ganito na po ang mapoproduce nating equation. So, we have your 2 moles of ethane reacts with 7 moles of oxygen gas to yield 4 moles of carbon dioxide and 6 moles of water. So, check to make sure that the number of each type of atom is the same on each side of the equation. And also, do not change the subscript or the chemical formula. Yan, so halimbawa dito sa given na to. So, ilan ba yung hydrogen mo? Okay, sige, ilan ba yung hydrogen natin? Okay, meron tayong 6. Let's put 6. Then, ilan ba yung carbon natin? Okay, very good. So, we have 7. Then, how many oxygen do we have? Okay, we have 5. Next, on the product side, so, ilan ba yung carbon natin? So, we have 1. Then, ilan ba yung oxygen natin? Meron tayong 3. And, ilan ba ngayon yung hydrogen natin? Okay, meron tayong 2. Now, ilan ba ngayon ang kailangan ng tinatawag nating product? Okay, for example, yung hydrogen, ilan ba yung ngayon yung kailangan niya para maging 6 siya? So, we need to put a coefficient of 3. Now, kapag nilagay niyo po yan ng 3, magiging 6. Okay, makukompleto na siya. Magiging 6 na yan. Now, mag-iiba, syempre, yung number ng oxygen mo. Now, ilan ba ngayon yung kailangan mong carbon? So, kailangan mo ng 7. Isa lang ang carbon mo dito. Lagyan mo ng coefficient to na 7. Okay? So, magiging 7 times 1, magiging 7 na din. Ayan, 7 na yung carbon mo. Ang mag-iiba lang po ngayon ay yung number ng oxygen mo. Now, ilan na ngayon yung magiging oxygen mo dito? So, 7 times 2, 14, plus 3, it would be 17. Ayan, so 17 ngayon yan. So, paano mo kukumpletuhin ang 17 na yan? So, ano ba ang kailangan mong i-multiply dito sa oxygen mo para makuha mo yung 70 na yon? So, dito meron ka ng 3. Okay? So, lagyan nyo lang po siya dito ng... Okay, very good. So, lagyan nyo lang po siya din ng coefficient na 7. So, bilangin po natin ngayon ha. So, we have here 7. Okay, 7 na yung carbon natin. Kamukha nung sa kabila. Then, we have hydrogen, which is also 6. And bilangin po natin yung oxygen ngayon. So, 7 times 2 is equals to 14 plus 3 is equals to 17. Okay? So, ito na po ang magiging balance equation natin. Okay, next na po tayo ha. So ito medyo somehow complicated tong itong given na to. So dahil mas maraming elements na na-involve. Pero padaliin po natin yung buhay nyo. So we have here ammonium phosphate reacts with ammonium hydroxide and yields water and ammonium phosphate. Now, kung kanina po, 'di ba, individual atoms po inilagay natin or yung individual na letters ng mga elements po natin. Now, pwede din kasi nating ilagay yung sabihin natin yung mga polyatomic ions. Ano ba yung mga yon? Halimbawa, tignan niyo po kung ano ba yung kapareho na ganito. We have NH4, meron ding NH4 doon, or ammonium. Then you have your phosphate, meron ka ding phosphate doon. So instead na paghiwalayin mo na meron kang phosphorus, meron kang oxygen, meron kang nitrogen and hydrogen, pwede na lang pong pagsamahin yung mga yon para madali. Okay? So we have NH4, dito ammonium, phosphate. Then ito po, may natirang oxygen and hydrogen dito, 'di ba? Kamukha dito. So paghiwalayin niyo po 'yon, pero wag niyo isasama yung hydrogen and oxygen na nakalagay na po dito sa ammonium and phosphate. Okay? Ilan ba muna yung ammonium dito sa side ng reactant? Isa. Okay? Dito naman po sa phosphate, okay, meron ding isa. Yung hydrogen niyo po ngayon ilan? So we have 1 plus 3, we have 4. Now, ilan po ba ngayon yung oxygen nyo? Okay, meron po tayong 1, then plus, okay, we have 1. Meron din tayong isang oxygen. Sa kabilang side naman po, ilan yung ammonium mo? Meron kang 3. Tignan nyo po, ito po yun, 3. Okay, 3. We have your phosphate po. We have 1. We have your hydrogen po. Ilan ngayon yung hydrogen mo dito? Meron kang 2. Okay? 2 po yung hydrogen nyo. Ilan naman po yung oxygen dyan? So, meron kang isa. Now, ano ba yung kailangan mong gawin ngayon? So, kung dito po, ammonium niya ay 1, so, pwede niyo po lagyan to ng subscript na 3. So, para magiging 3 po ngayon ang inyong ammonium. Okay, magbabago ngayon ang bilang ng oxygen nyo. So, ang oxygen nyo po ngayon ay magiging 3. Tignan nyo po ha. Naging 3 na po ang oxygen nyo. Now, magbabago din po ngayon ang number ng hydrogen nyo. So, kung kanina, bali 3 plus 1, ay 3 times 1 is equals to 3. Then, ito naman, meron ka na ulit 3, so magiging 6 na ngayon. Tignan nyo po ha. 6 na po ang bilang ngayon ng oxygen nyo. Ay, ng hydrogen nyo rather. Now, ang oxygen at hydrogen nyo po, hindi magpapareho dito. So, ano ba yung kailangan nyong ilagay na coefficient dito para maging 6 din? Okay, very good. So, lagyan nyo po siya ng coefficient na 3. So, we have 3 times 2, magiging 6 po ang hydrogen nyo. And 3 times 1, magiging 3 din po ang oxygen nyo. Therefore, ito na po ang balance equation natin. Okay, another one. So, ito po, individual elements na lang ilagay natin. We have iron. Then, we also have sulfur. Okay? Iron and sulfur. Ilan ba ang iron dito sa side ng reactant? Okay, very good. So, meron tayong isa. Then, sa sulfur mo naman, meron kang 8. Then, dito naman sa side ng product, meron kang tig-isang iron at meron kang isang sulfur. Now, ilan ba ngayon ang kailangan mo? Ano ba yung hindi balance? So, yung sulfur lang po. So, lagay po tayo dito ng, very good, ng coefficient na 8. So, magiging 8 po ngayon ang inyong iron. And ang sulfur nyo ngayon dito ay magiging 8. Ano naman ngayon ang hindi balance? Yung iron nyo. So, anong ilalagay nyo na coefficient ng iron? Okay, very good. Another 8. So, magiging balance na po ang equation natin. Ganun lang po, kadali. And then for our last example, meron po tayo ditong aluminum hydroxide reacts with carbonic acid and yields aluminum carbonate and water. Now, kagaya po nung kanina, di ba, sabi ko po sa inyo, instead na individual elements yung iba, so pwede po natin gawin yung sa polyatomic ion mismo. Halimbawa, ilan muna yung aluminum nyo dito? Okay, we have 1. Dito naman po meron kayong 2. Okay? Ilan naman po yung carbonate nyo? Dito sa side na to, meron kang isa. Meron kang 3 dito sa product side. Ilan naman yung oxygen? Again, yung oxygen po hindi po kasama dapat doon sa carbonate. So, we have 0, we have 1 times 3, it would be 3. Ngayon po, ilan din yung sa kabila mo? So, we have 1. Now, ilan ngayon yung hydrogen mo sa side na to? Ito lang po. So, we have 2. Then, plus 3, we have 5. Okay, 5 po yan. Dito naman, sa ano na to, meron kang dalawa. So, ano po ang susunod na step natin ngayon? So, ilan po ba ang aluminum dito? Okay, try po natin siyang gawing 2 para mabalance natin. So, we have 2. Magiging 2 po ang aluminum nyo ngayon, ha? Next, mababago din po ngayon ang number ng oxygen nyo. So, ilan po ba ang magiging oxygen nyo ngayon? So, 2. Then, yung oxygen, yung hydrogen nyo din mababago. Okay? Pero balikan muna natin ngayon si carbonate. Ilan ba ang kailangan nito? Ano ba yung kailangan na coefficient dito sa reactant para maging 3 din? Yung ating coefficient or 3 din yung ating number of carbonate. So, lagyan po natin siya ng coefficient na 3 dito. So, 3, magiging 6 po ang hydrogen nyo dyan. And yung carbonate nyo po ngayon ay magiging 3. Now, bilangin po ngayon natin ang number of atoms. So, meron kang dalawa ngayon dito na aluminum. Then, bilangin po natin yung carbonate. Meron kang 3. Bilangin natin yung hydrogen. 3 times 2, you have 6. Then, you have here 3 times 2 is you have 12. Okay, 12 po ngayon ang inyong hydrogen. Then, ilan ngayon ang inyong oxygen? So, you have here 2. Then, you also have here 3. So, 3 times 2, it would be 6. Okay? Yun po ngayon. So, ang hindi na lang balance ngayon ay yung ONH natin, which is ito ang ibabalance natin ngayon, si water. So, let's put a coefficient of 6. So, 6 times 2, it would be 12. Okay, 12 na ang hydrogen nyo. And 12 times 1, ay 6 times 1, it would be 6. Balance na po ang equation natin. Okay, I have here a illustration that shows the law of conservation of mass in a balanced equation. So we have here hydrogen gas reacts with chlorine gas and yields 2 moles of hydrogen chloride. So meron kang isang molecule ngayon dito ng hydrogen gas, and meron ka ding isang molecule ng chlorine. Pero meron ka naman ngayon dalawang molecules ng tinatawag nating hydrogen chloride. Now you also have 1 mole of hydrogen gas, 1 mole of chlorine gas, but 2 moles of hydrogen chloride. Now, kung kukunin nyo po yung molar mass nun, diba? Ganito po makuha nyo. So, 2 times 1.008 grams plus 2 times 35.45 grams. Pero kapag hydrogen chloride naman po, dahil 2 moles, makuha nyo po dyan ay 72.91. Dito naman po, ang makuha nyo dyan ay 2.01, then dun sa mga kabila, 2 times 35.45, you will get 70.90. Ipag-add nyo po ang 70.90 and 2.016. Ang makuha nyo po dapat ay parehong 72.91 grams. 72.916 grams. Ano po ang indication nun? Ang indication po nun ay totoo po yung tinatawag nating law of conservation of mass. So, pareho po ang mass ng inyong reactant at pareho din po ang mass ng inyong product. Take a look at these examples. You have rusty iron nail, change in color of the leaves, bleached hair. So what is common among these examples? Okay, very good. So these examples are all examples of chemical change. Pero kapag sinabi natin chemical change, ano bang ibig sabihin nun? Okay, very good. So kapag po sinabi natin chemical change, so it is a type of change on which there is a change on the chemical composition or there is a change on the chemical structure and makeup of a particular substance. So every time na nangyayari yung tinatawag nating chemical change, mostly nangyayari yan during a chemical reaction. Pero ano ba ang mga form during a chemical reaction? So for the first one is we have the formation of a solid or known as a precipitate. Just for example, on this picture, there is a formation of a solid in this reaction. Second one is we have evolution of gas or we have the bubble formation as you can see on this picture. And last one is there is a change in temperature on which heat is absorbed or heat is released. Hi, so let's proceed to the different types of chemical reactions. So during your general biology class is natakal na natin ano ba itong mga different types ng chemical reaction on which gumamit pa nga tayo ng analogy ng mga different celebrities para i-explain natin ang types ng chemical reaction. So balikan lang natin ngayon yung mga yun. Okay, so for the first type of chemical reaction, we have here the what we call decomposition reaction. So during a decomposition reaction, our reactant breaks down into more product. Parang sa isang relationship lang, nag-break. Okay, naghiwalay. For example, you have calcium carbonate. So we have CaCO3, which is the calcium carbonate, will decompose into calcium oxide and carbon dioxide. That is decomposition reaction. Basta naghiwalay, decomposition po yan. Kung during decomposition reaction naman nag-break, during the what we call synthesis reaction, two or more reactants form a single product. Ito naman po, ayan, nagka-jowa na sila, ayan, nag-in na sila. So we have A plus B will form AB. Halimbawa po, sulfur plus oxygen gas will form sulfur dioxide. So basta nagsama po sila, ayan, synthesis reaction po yan. Yan, minsan ba naranasan nyo nang ipagpalit kayo sa mas malapit? O minsan ipagpalit kayo sa iba? Single displacement reaction po yan. So, one element replaces another in a compound. Just for example, we have here the general formula na A plus BC will form B plus AC. Nagkapalit po ngayon. So, si B, siya yung naging mag-isa, tapos yung isa naman humanap ng iba. Okay? So, si A and C po ang naging magkasama. For example, you have zinc plus 2 moles of hydrochloric acid will yield hydrogen gas on which yung po yung naiwan, and yung nagsama po ngayon ay yung zinc and chlorine. Nakaform po siya ng zinc chloride. So, ito po yung tinatawag nating single displacement reaction. Next one is we have the what we call double displacement. So, karaniwan po itong nangyayari sa mga tinatawag nating ionic compounds. So, kung kanina sa single displacement, isa lang, ito naman nagkapalitan sila. Okay? Halimbawa, AB plus CD will form AD plus CD. So, halimbawa po, we have hydrochloric acid reacts with sodium hydroxide and yield sodium chloride and water. Kung napansin niyo po, nagkapalitan po yung mga ions natin dyan. Therefore, it is a double displacement. So, among the different types of chemical reaction, ito po yung pinakamadaling identify. Ito po tinatawag natin combustion reaction. Bakit siya madaling identify? Tandaan niyo po, basta ang product niya, carbon dioxide at water, matik po na combustion reaction yan. So, a hydrocarbon, so a compound containing carbon and hydrogen, reacts with oxygen to form carbon dioxide and water. For example, you have your methane, reacts with 2 moles of oxygen and yields carbon dioxide and 2 moles of water. Kung napansin niyo po, ang product na na-form dyan ay carbon dioxide and water. And also, on the reactant side, meron po tayong tinatawag na hydrocarbon na nag-react sa oxygen. Therefore, it is a combustion reaction. At yun po ang different types of chemical reaction. So, let us check your understanding. What type of reaction is on the first equation? Okay, very good. It is a combustion reaction. How about the second one? Very good. It is a double displacement reaction. How about the third one? Very good. So we had what we call synthesis reaction. How about the fourth one? Very good. It is a single displacement reaction. And for the fifth one? Very good. It is a decomposition reaction. So, as you can see, it is easy to identify the different types of chemical reaction.